Hi, everyone. Welcome into the broadcast here on this Wednesday. Hope you guys are doing well. It's region weather meteorologist Matt Wintz here with a look at the forecast. We've got rounds of storms on the way over the next really 5 to 10 days. It looks pretty stormy next week as well. Doesn't mean it's all severe. Doesn't mean we're going to have an overblown tornado outbreak or anything like that. It is springtime here in Northwest Indiana, and we get storms, and that's exactly what we're going to have. We do have a couple time frames, though, that we do need to watch, and so I'll kind of highlight what those time frames are and give you my latest thinking on how things will evolve here as we go throughout the forecast. Obviously, I have Easter weekend coming up, so a lot of you with outdoor plans, whether it be egg hunts or church services, a lot going on this upcoming weekend. Towards the end of the broadcast, we'll take it long term. We'll talk about if this pattern sticks around, if there's any more cold air in sight. I shared that freeze graphic a little bit earlier in terms of our average last freeze date around here. Are we done with it? Well, not quite yet, but I really don't see any really cold air outside of tonight's going to be kind of chilly. Not as cold as last night, but anyway, things are going to start to change. But does it hold? We'll talk about that coming up in the forecast. First and foremost, want to thank everyone for joining here. We've got Mary with us tonight. She was first on board. Hi, Mary. Jeff's with us. Good evening to you, Jeff. Angel, thanks for spending your time with us here this evening. Don from Mayberry, I just love your picture and your name there. Good evening to you as well. Rhonda, hello. Angel, good evening to you. This is another Angel. We've got two of them on right now. Susan's with us on our YouTube channel. Amber's with us. Hi, Amber. And Tina asked, is summer coming yet? We'll answer that there, Tina. All right, let's get through our sponsors real quick. I want to start with Michael Minogue. This is Minogue.life as a website. There are a lot of changes in the world of Medicare and Medicaid. And Michael's a little concerned that some of the healthcare program changes are going to affect a lot of people and actually harm you in terms of some of your benefits. And his job is just to go through what plan you have that you might have signed up for and to make sure that it fits your needs and that you're getting everything you need out of it. Maybe you're paying too much for life insurance. Maybe you're not getting all the benefits out of Medicare or Medicaid that you could be getting. Well, Michael's there to help. He does free consultations. He'll sit down with you, go over your plan, and just make sure it's a good fit. Minogue.life is the website to go to there. Earl's Heating and Air Conditioning. If you're ready for a tune-up, you're going to feel it on Friday. We're up near 80 degrees. They'll do a tune-up for you. They'll get you a new unit. They've got some great specials right now. Or if you're turning on the heat still in the mornings, they'll fix that as well. They do everything. Trust the most trusted heating company in Cherville since 1976. They've been around serving customers in Lake and Porter County. Go to earlsheating.com. Publicserviceadjusting.com is the place to go for our personal, local, licensed insured adjusters. They handle insurance claims, and they'll go and do everything between you and your insurance company. So instead of calling your insurance company, go to publicserviceadjusting.com. First, Romans Roofing. Trust the team that values safety and doing things right. They provide retail and storm restoration options in terms of roofing, and they don't just do roofs. They do siding, windows, and gutters as well, not just to residential but commercial properties. They do an awesome job. All inspections and estimates are free. RomansRoofing.net or 219-838-9111. Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage. Her last name's not Ruoff. She's not in the family, but she's in the family, if that makes sense. If you're looking for a new home this spring, the home buying market is ready to go, and she's ready to help you get pre-approved so you can get right in and get that dream home of yourself. Kate Cusack for Ruoff Mortgage. You can find her on Facebook, Kate Cusack Home Loan Girl, or you can call her, 219-775-6645. T&T Tree Service. There's 3 T's in the website. It's tttreeservice.com. If you still have any trees down on your property, maybe you've been holding off on it, they do amazing work, and they do it with safety and integrity. Call them today or tttreeservice.com. Let them know Region Weather sent you along there. Finally, we're getting towards some of our other amazing sponsors here. Great Lakes Lighting. I wanted to say we were done. We've got a couple more. Great Lakes Lighting. When first impressions mean everything, make your home the envy of the neighborhood with expertly placed outdoor lighting. Have you gone on Amazon and tried to get those little solar lights that you plug in the ground that break 6 months later? Don't do that anymore. Trust the folks and the experts at Great Lakes Lighting. From outdoor lighting to accenting your home's architecture or landscaping, they'll do it all. They enhance your safety and security on your property as well. Visit lightupnwi.com or Great Lakes Lighting over on Facebook. FBIbuildings.com. They just did a new structure in St. John. Go to their Facebook page, FBI Buildings. They did this new structure in St. John that looks amazing. They just do great work with these pole barn constructed buildings and residential, commercial. They'll do renovations as well. They're amazing, and they're a fun Facebook page to follow, FBIbuildings.com. TigerPlumbing.net for any of your plumbing needs. If anything's not flowing where it needs to go, make sure you trust the experts there. And finally, last but not least, Grieger's Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in Valparaiso. They've been serving Northwest Indiana for decades. They just have a ton of customer compliments on their webpage. If you go there, they're all updated every day. They get like 3 or 4 a day. People just love Grieger's, again, on US 30 there in Valparaiso. All right, let's get to your forecast now. A couple more people joined. I think we're ready to go here. Terry's joining us from Northeast Indiana. Terry, we're expanding our reach from Northwest Indiana to Northeast Indiana. I appreciate that. Kathy, Diane, hello to you. Maxwell's with us tonight. Ann's with us. Maureen, James, and Nancy are here. And this is just our second angel that's with us. We've got 2 angels with us tonight. Vicki, good evening to you. All right, so we'll dive into the forecast now that everyone's joined. Here's the big picture right now. The pattern is changing, folks. Today was a cool day near the lake. So let me describe real quick lake breeze for you, because you hear lake breeze a lot, but when does a lake breeze form? Why do we have it some days? Why do we not have it on others? So remember, Lake Michigan is cold right now, right? Water temperatures are generally in the 40s. And when you have cold water, and it's huge, like Lake Michigan is, you get cold air up and over it, right? So it forms its own environment out over the lake because it's colder. That's why it's cold if you go out on a boat versus inland, okay? You guys get that. But cold air, if you remember from science class, is heavy and dense. So that cold air sits close to the surface. It sits close to the lake. It hovers basically over the lake, and it likes to sit there, right? Well, if you don't have a strong wind around, which we did not have today, we had a very light wind after some gusty wind the last couple of days. That cold air being heavy and dense, it's heavy, it likes to expand because it wants to sink further into the ground, and it can't go into the ground, so it comes out. And so that's that lake breeze. It's that cold, dense air expanding inland as far as as the wind will let it. If we have a stronger wind, likely from the south usually, or southeast or southwest, even westerly will do it, it keeps that cold air out over the lake. But if you don't have any wind around and there's nothing really to blow around, that cold air likes to expand. So that's why on days like today, when our wind is lighter as high pressure's in charge, that lake breeze can be more prominent. All right, and it's more prominent this time of year because the lake is colder. As the lake water temperature continues to warm, that air is not quite as cold. It's not quite as heavy and dense, so it doesn't expand as far inland. And we get the opposite effect in the fall, where we have cold air over land and we have that bubble of warmth. The bubble of warmth out over the lake doesn't expand, right? It just kind of sits near the lake shore depending on the wind. But either way, that's what the lake breeze is, and that's certainly what we had today. Big picture pattern across the country, though, we're changing things up. We've had a flow out of the northwest over the last few days. We're saying goodbye to snow showers in interior New York and New England, and we're kind of on just kind of the line right now between the cold air off towards the north and east and what we're replacing with it, which is more of a zonal flow and even more of a flow that brings air out of the north out towards the west. And so here's how we can kind of see that here. Everything kind of flowing west to east here, but off towards areas of Montana, there's an area of low pressure right here where my mouse cursor is. This thing's producing some heavy snow. And what this low will do is this low will sink south across the Rockies, and it's going to blanket them in snow. Some areas of the Rockies are going to see anywhere from a foot to a foot and a half of snow. Denver's going to get snow from this as well. It is snowy season out there. In fact, Denver typically sees a lot of snow in the month of March into April, and they're going to get some here. They've been below average. But either way, this system is going to dip down. And remember, when things go down in the west, they come up in the east, and that's how we're going to be able to warm up. So we're going to get a huge ridge around here on Friday. I still think we're going to make a run at 80 degrees on Friday. Amazing, right? What a turnaround. And then next week, we kind of turn more zonal. So things will go more west to east, which brings us near average or even a little bit above average. So I don't see any more cold air intrusions here in the near future. What we have to watch, though, as we start to open up the Gulf and we bring in moisture in, you can see the flow here with these cumulus clouds coming out of Oklahoma. This is moisture flowing at the lower levels out of the south. So while everything's going west to east on the satellite, you think, oh, nothing's happening. There's just this system we have to watch here. No, this moisture is, you can see it on satellite flowing out of the south. That's going to reach into the system here. There's a secondary low here, and everything's going to kind of kaboom out in the plain states on a low-level jet. And as a result, there is a severe weather threat. Doesn't look like much now, but later on this evening into tonight, could get some thunderstorms to fire in Kansas. And then tomorrow, this threat shifts into Iowa. This isn't a huge tornado threat. It's more hail and damaging wind. But we could have some decent explosive storms in areas of Iowa. The big question is, does the cap erode? So there's going to be a cap in the atmosphere really over the next couple of days, tomorrow and Friday. And the big question is, where do we get that to erode? Basically a cap, and I've explained it before, and I won't go into detail because we explained the lake breeze. I want to save your time. But in terms of the cap, it's basically a lid on the atmosphere. So when clouds want to go up and develop into big storm clouds, they can't because they hit this cap or this layer of warmer air aloft that stops it from condensing. So there's going to be a lid on the atmosphere tomorrow and Friday. It will erode in spots, but the tricky part of the forecast is, where does that cap erode? And what I mean by eroding is you get a little area where it's not quite as warm aloft, or you get strong enough punch from the clouds and the cold air going upward that it punches through, breaks that cap, and then boom, the storms are explosive. So that being said, it's a forecast over the next couple of days where we're not quite, and the models aren't quite 100% sure on where storms will develop or where they'll go. So confidence is pretty low in where these storms go the next couple of days. But the idea or the general consensus for best risk is going to be out in Iowa tomorrow. And we could inherit a couple of these later on tomorrow. And then on Friday, we've been talking about this all week. This threat zone has not really changed. It's advanced eastward a little bit, but notice how we've got a decent threat for some storms around here on Friday. All right. And this is going to be very, very late on Friday. Most of the day is going to be dry. So let's take a look at some of the modeling in terms of what it thinks is going to happen. We've got some pretty dry air in place right now. We don't quite have the humidity yet. Not that we need that for warm frontal storms, but what we're expecting to develop tonight would be out towards areas of Kansas. Down here, that's where that severe threat is. And we may get some of the activity into Illinois off of this, but I think it's going to be hard-pressed to make it into the region just because our area is so dry, not just here, but at the mid-levels as well. So chance to rain tonight is there. It's very, very, very small. All right. If we squeak out a shower, bonus to the atmosphere. There you go. Our better chance of rain, though, is going to be tomorrow evening into tomorrow night. And again, it's not a slam dunk. It's not a guarantee that we get rain out of this. But what we'll be watching is that activity in Iowa along this front. There's going to be another wave out ahead of it that could trigger just a brief shower. And you can see what happens. This is tomorrow late in the evening. This is tomorrow night right here. The models take all this activity up into Wisconsin. And those are some pretty decent storms. A lot of lightning with this with the warm front. All right. So not a guarantee we get wet, but I would not be surprised. And the Weather Service actually talked about this as well. I would not be surprised if this wasn't placed well on the map, if this was a little bit further south or a little bit more broken or it developed a little differently. So something we'll have to watch. Again, severe threat is not really very high tomorrow, especially tomorrow night. It's still not that high. Most of it's out towards the west, but I'm talking just thunderstorm chances from here. And then Fridays are better risk. I'm more impressed with Fridays. We'll have dew points that surge up out ahead of a frontal boundary. You could see the front here. This is Friday mid-morning. You could see the front here with the wind. See those little arrows, how they change? Southwest here, northwest here. Here's your front. We've got a dry line that'll be kicking in as well. Colder air off towards the north. Gulf of Mexico moisture that's surging north on a low-level jet. All of these things will come together to likely form storms. However, the HRRR model, which is one of our high-res, doesn't quite get there yet, so we can't quite see it. But we do have other models that get there that are more high-res, and this is the NAM-NEST. This one has rain everywhere, so ignore that part. But what we're going to look at is for the storm development, and you can see we're just beginning to see kind of how this will evolve on Friday. This is very late in the day. I'm talking like after sunset late, where we would fire up some storms to the west, and then they would move in. All right, this is your severe threat here. Likely some kind of line segment that would develop. Could have some individual cells at first, but it'd be more of a line segment by the time it started rolling in here. All right. So that threat timing hasn't changed. We've said it pretty much all week. And again, it can always fluctuate. I'm not saying that because our forecast was dead on. That happens sometimes. Sometimes it fluctuates. And the forecast models have done a good job on this. So that's the first point that I want to make in terms of this broadcast to everyone is that Friday late night, like late in the evening into the overnight hours, that's when our severe risk is going to be around here. Now, what is that risk? That risk is going to be for some strong thunderstorms. Damaging winds and hail are going to be your primary two risks with this. Tornado threat is there. It's not very high. I'm not overly impressed with the tornado threat from this, all right? Damaging winds and hail. Both of those do damage. I don't want us to let our guard down and say, well, Matt says there's not much of a tornado risk from this. I'm not worried about it. Remember, severe thunderstorms can produce just as much with that wind damage in terms of weak tornado damage as well. So that's the time frame we need to watch. So if you're heading out Friday, which I would imagine you will be, because it's going to be real warm around here. I'm talking 80 degrees on Friday. You're going to probably be out and about doing your thing. Friday evening, just put the weather antennas up and start thinking, all right, let's check on those storms. Let's check in with Matt. Let's check in with whatever source you have for the storm potential, because we want to make sure you're not caught off guard late Friday evening into Friday night. All right. And then we get into the weekend. This frontal boundary is causing all sorts of fits in the models last couple of days. There's good consensus now. So we have a good idea of how this front is going to behave now in terms of our Easter weekend. All right. So let's dive into Easter weekend for you. Here's the front. Here's the storms that arrive Friday night that roll through. The higher threat for severe weather is actually the further east you are with this, because there is some model consensus that it develops east of Chicago, like right over us, and then blossoms in Indiana. So we'll have to see in terms of timing of that. But this isn't going to be one of those Friday night where the storms are moving in and fading. They'll be either developing over us or just out towards the west, and they should have some good energy as they move through. Temperatures Friday evening, by the way, are likely going to hold in the 70s. So you're going to head out to dinner. It's probably going to be 74, 75, 76 degrees with a stout breeze. So it's going to feel like summer on Friday, and it's going to feel like summer Friday evening with some thunderstorms to kind of wrap it all up. All right. So let's get into Easter weekend. On Saturday morning, we'll have whatever leftover rain is left as that line of storms sinks south. There'll likely be rain on the north end of it. And this line of storms is going to start to slow down. All right. It'll go through us, but it'll slow down to our south. And as a result, usually what you get is a line of storms, then you get all this rain on the north end of it. We'll probably get into that pattern for a while Saturday morning where we have all that rain on the north end of some kind of line of storms, all right? And then that line of storms should fade far enough south that we dry up with just maybe a passing shower. But the thing on Saturday is it's going to turn cooler. We're going to be on the colder side of the front now. We'll have a wind coming off the lake. And so we're back to the 50s again. And we'll probably have fog coming off the lake. That usually happens when we have moisture around and cold air coming off of that. So probably foggy, a little gloomy and dreary with periodic showers around the rest of our day on Saturday. So not the best of days. I know a lot of folks have Easter egg hunts for the kids Saturday morning or midday. We're going to have to watch that line of storms as it moves through, and we'll have to see how quickly that rain clears out from it. But right now, my thinking is as of Wednesday, this could change, but as of right now, I think we're going to have leftover rain around here Saturday morning with improving conditions as we go throughout the day rain-wise. But the clouds and the cool air coming off the lake and some of the fog and drizzle, I think that's going to stick around. Again, that's how I see it going. Again, that doesn't mean it's right, but from past experience, when we get fronts like this and then you get that cold air off the lake, you get that fog and it turns kind of drizzly around here. All right. And then this front just hangs out down to the south. So we have rain chances all the way through the day Saturday, depending on where that front decides to go. If it doesn't get as far south, we'll be held in the rain. If it gets far enough south, the rain will be just south of us. And then everything reloads and comes at us for Easter. Easter's interesting. It looks rainy in the morning. All right. As that front comes back, we'll likely have a wave of rain moving back in, maybe some rumbles within that. And this will kind of be a similar to a warm front. The front should stall to our south, but the rain should be coming up to the north. So we could get some thunder and lightning with that as well. And then the low pressure develops as this is the low that's really kicking everything off over the next couple of days. That low comes finally out of the Rockies, the one that produces all the snow. It comes out into Missouri and it strengthens. So this is the same low you saw swirling out of areas of Montana. It's going to merge with another low, and then this thing comes at us. Bottom line, on Sunday, the severe weather threat starts to ramp up from areas like Missouri, southern Illinois, and we would have to watch that late in the day Sunday into Sunday night, because this is a decent low. And this, if this verified in terms of the Euro and where it's placing the low, with a warm front surging north and a cold front punching in from the west right here, we would have a decent severe weather threat. And I'm giving you early heads up on this. I'm not seeing a lot of chatter about this yet, but this would be a decent severe weather threat Easter evening into Easter night going into Monday morning. All right. because the warm front would lift north. We would go probably from 50 Sunday up into maybe 70 late at night, like in the evening, maybe 60, 70. And with the shear that we have present, there'd probably be a line of storms that we're worked through. So that's what I'm seeing now in the modeling. So weather antennas, again, next severe weather threat, the potential's there for Sunday evening, Easter day, right into the evening hours. I'm not worried about daytime. It would be rain and some storms around. It looks rainy for Easter, unfortunately, but that severe threat would be late in the day into Easter night. All right, just in time for us to do a Region Weather live broadcast. So just FYI, again, this could change. The low might not be as strong. It might not come as far north, but to me, the way the Euro's been painting this last couple runs is that we would have a real decent severe weather threat around here, all right, with that low so close to us, and just the setup, we'd be in the triple point position there. So there's that. That goes by. Monday, we spend today clearing, a little bit cooler on Monday, and then by Tuesday, I mean, look at this active pattern. We've got all sorts of rain chances coming at us in the plains. The real best chance would be later next week, but this continues to kind of flop around in the modeling. But just look how rainy it stays, right? I mean, this is spring across the Midwest. And this actually, I don't really want the rain that much, right? There's stuff to do outside, and we don't want the muddy mess. But this is really, really good. And this makes me pretty happy for the ongoing drought across the northern plains. Look at all this rain, at least that's projected. This is through the end of April. All right, we'll get into May 1st there. These are some healthy amounts, but what makes me happy about this is that we've had a bad drought ongoing across Iowa and areas of the Midwest heading down towards the Tennessee Valley. And this rain's falling right where the farmers need it, going into planting season, which we're in right now, soybean crops, all that stuff going in. This is great news because I've been saying it the last couple months. We do not want to enter spring or summer with a drought, not just locally, but west of us, right? Because that can breed heat, which makes things even hotter in the summer if we have this big dry dust bowl area. And this rain is falling right over the areas that need it. So this pattern is very welcome. I know it's annoying. I know we've had a lot of flooding, and that's going to be the problem with this, is that there's been too much rain down towards the Ohio River Valley, getting down towards the Mississippi River. It's already at flood stage from all that rain that we got a week and a half ago. It all finally drained in the Ohio River, and all of this will likely do the same thing. So that's the only trade-off for this, is that there's going to be some more bad flooding in areas that don't need it, hopefully further south from us, all right? Final thing I have here, then I'll answer questions for you, are temperatures. Temperatures, again, this is the Euro's take. This is what I lean closest to. It doesn't mean these numbers are truth, but these are the numbers that it's spitting out here. And I would agree with tomorrow's 60s. It depends on if those storms move in tomorrow or not, or if they stay off towards the north, but I've got us in the 60s. Even up towards the lakeshore. Rain would spoil that if we had storms that developed and sat. And then I've got 80 on Friday. I agree with that. We get a nice, strong southerly flow. And then Saturday's interesting. I think that 76 happens early. I don't know if I agree with that. I think we'll have colder air spilling in off the lake, and that would drop us into the 50s at least. We'll see about that. It's interesting. And then we go back into the 60s. And, I mean, look at the trend. There's no cold air on here. And even our overnight lows for those folks, remember I went into gardening like 6:01 with you guys on Sunday night, telling you all about what you can plant and stuff, and I'm sorry about that. But I'm a big gardener guy. I love plants, and I love all the things you can do with gardens and yards and flower beds and stuff like that. I think most meteorologists are in tune with that. But anyway, my eye goes towards the lows. I'm looking for freezing temperatures. I don't see much of a frost risk or a freeze risk over the next 7 to 10 days. We'll have to watch tomorrow morning. Again, we're going to have some frost around tonight into tomorrow morning. And this doesn't mean you should plant annuals yet or anything like that, but this does mean that our ground is going to start to warm up. Everything likes to grow. Our perennials like to grow when soil temperatures are in the 50s, and we'll have a lot of 50s in here with daytime highs in the 60s and 70s. Once it cools off to 40s at night, that temperature usually stays, the ground temperature stays in the 50s for the duration of that. So this is good growing and sprouting weather. It's also a good time, as I mentioned on Sunday, to plant grass seed, because Mother Nature is going to water it for you, and temperatures are great right now. This is the best time of year to plant grass seed outside of fall. So you can get all that stuff done now, right now, and you just see, I mean, we've got a pretty mild pattern from here, so I'm pretty happy about that. All right, let's answer questions for you in terms of anything that you are wondering. Let's see what I got here. And we'll let this model kind of play out so you can kind of see what's going to be happening in the next couple of days. All right, let's see what we got here. We've got, yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, JP, I like your comment. He says, give it 24 hours, you'll experience all four seasons. It's unbelievable. I mean, every part of the country says they have dramatic shifts like that. I know the Rockies do, like Denver, for example, but I'll tell you, us in Lake Michigan can really produce some crazy weather around here, really. Lynn, thank you very much. We're planning on it. It's going to be a good Easter weekend. I'm going to be around, just FYI. So if there is severe weather Friday night, we'll be able to go live for you. If there's severe weather on Easter Sunday night, we'll be able to go live for you as well. I'm not too sure if we'll do. We'll see if there's severe weather on Sunday. If the models continue to show that, we'll do a broadcast. If not, I'm going to let you guys enjoy time with your family. Okay. But I am leaning more towards broadcast just to kind of update everyone on that. That'll be fine. Kids will be in bed, so I'm not too worried about it. Yep, Renee, you're absolutely welcome. Yeah. Let's see. Kathy says debating on cutting the grass before I fertilize or wait, but hard to want that when it's been chilly. Yeah. Well, Kathy, that's up to you. I would probably, while we get a little dry spell here the next 2 days, I would probably cut that grass. And you could fertilize after you cut it as well, and then let the rain help it to soak in. The one thing we don't want to do when we fertilize the grass is to have a real windy day to blow some of those chemicals around. We don't want that. Good time to put down the crabgrass preventer right now as well. Yeah, Rich, that's the other thing. I meant to post on this earlier. There is a real good chance, and again, I'm not too much. I should be more of a space guy. I'm not much of a space guy, but I am curious with the aurora tonight. So there's been two solar flares. They're come towards Earth, and I believe they're hitting now. And the aurora borealis has been going nuts on the other side of the globe in Asia. And we'll see if that translates east as it kind of comes around. But there's a real good shot at the aurora borealis tonight as we go throughout the evening hours and then into the overnight hours. So we'll see if that's true. These things, they're tough to predict. Sometimes they overperform. A lot more times than not, they underperform. But this has really been overperforming in Asia. And that's a really good sign as that kind of heads around and we get a good view of it once it gets dark outside. We may have a good shot at it tonight too. So absolutely. Kathy says, can you explain why the sun destabilizes the atmosphere? Yeah, Kathy. So it's as simple as when the sun comes out, it heats up, right? And even if it's not heating up air temperature a whole lot, it's heating up the Earth's surface, okay? And remember, heat rises. It's a simple thing. When heat rises, it rises into the air. It can cool and condense and form clouds, and that provides lift, all right? Lift is one of the things that destabilizes the atmosphere. You need it for severe weather. And when we have lift from heating things up, that's one of the components that certainly can cause that. So there's that. Amanda says 2 beehives are stocked with girls and will be happy it's getting warmer. That's awesome, Amanda. You're ready to go for the year. That's so good. Amanda, I need to buy some honey from you. I just we're running kind of low in the family right now. Our kids have a lot of honey. I know it's pure sugar, but anyway, I need to get some honey from you. So can you private message me and I'll buy some honey from you for sure. Gabby says, so looks like no Easter egg hunting outside with the kids on Sunday. Gabby, Sunday does not look great. It doesn't mean it's going to be a washout, but that frontal boundary is going to be coming back at us. So as of right now, I see a load of rain coming through, and then we'll watch storms later in the day. So the timing of that, stay tuned. We're not going to know probably till Friday the exact timing of these storms. David, no, you never have to. No, you don't have to hide in Porter County, David. No, listen. Friday, we're going to have some storms around. David, just make sure you're prepared, all right? Just make sure you're in tune with someone who's talking about the weather, all right? If we have to go live, we'll go live for you. But yeah, I'm not crazy worried about the severe threat in terms of tornadoes. I am a little concerned about damaging wind and hail threat from this Friday night, though. Because our atmosphere is going to be ready to go. We're going to have temperatures near 80. We'll have dew points in the 60s. It's going to feel like summertime, especially Friday afternoon, Friday night. With some of that moisture around. All right. Maxwell's excited for the stormy pattern, warm, humid, lots of lightning. Yeah, especially these warm fronts, Maxwell. We've got a couple chances around here. All right. All right, guys, we'll let you go. I appreciate you joining me here tonight. We'll be around. I'm not going anywhere next couple of days. All right. So we'll continue to post and keep you updated on this. But I appreciate you guys taking time out of your evening routine. I get it. Our house is full of kids and routines and homework and sports and all that stuff. So I get it, all right, and I want to make this time for you, and I just feel humbled that you decide to spend that time with me as well. So hopefully you got something out of this. We'll be in touch. Guys, have a wonderful end of your week, and we'll talk about more on these storms here in our next couple posts, okay? All right.